Hi there, it's Sarah here. Welcome to this very special midwifery edition of training. Now, what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is providing you with some special trainings where we're going to be focusing our attention on supporting midwives and maternity services. Now, don't worry if you found this training and you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, Sarah, I'm not a midwife and I don't work or use the maternity services. Then please don't fear, because the information that I'm going to be sharing with you is most likely going to be of huge benefit to you too. So stay tuned. Now, today we're going to be looking at the 3 keys to recharging your energy levels. But before we tuck in, I'm going to give you a very quick brief introduction. So my name is Sarah. I'm founder of the Emotional Health Coach Academy and creator of The Formula. The Formula, as we call it, is lovingly known, it's very simply known, is a unique and powerful formula that's been curated and adapted over the last 14 years from many different schools of thought, like hypnotherapy, CBT, psychotherapy, coaching, and education. And what it does is it helps you find your own personal, unique formula to thrive so that you can overcome things like stress, anxiety, depression, burnout. It's really, really good if you're holding on to unwanted habits and behaviors, if you've got fears and phobias that you want to overcome, and of course if you've got these unexplained physical symptoms that there's no medical rhyme or reason to. This program will help you resolve those too. So it's absolutely fantastic, and it helps you to flourish and prosper in all areas of your life. Now, it's a formula that I've developed over the last 14 years where I've been working in my very busy and very successful practice. I have literally spent hours and hours of time with clients in sessions, finding out what works and what doesn't work for people and the reasons why. And I've had lots and lots of feedback over the years, and we put together this program. Now, these days, I spend less time working in my private practice and more time working in training, and in particular, training midwives in this methodology so that they can help themselves and they can be in a better position to help the families in their care and, of course, help their colleagues that they work alongside too. Okay, so back to today then. We are looking at the 3 keys to recharging your energy levels, and this training is for you if you're a midwife, a student midwife, or a healthcare professional that's perhaps at this moment in time struggling to cope with the day-to-day challenges that midwifery brings. It might be challenges such as staff shortages, heavy workload, not having enough time to provide that deep level of care that you would love to give to the people in your care. And first and foremost, what I want to say to you is, if you are feeling like this right now, I want you to know you are not alone. Now, this problem, I know for a fact, was there pre-COVID, and it has been magnified since. And I know this to be true because over the years I've worked with and supported hundreds of midwives, healthcare professionals, maternity service users, and I can very clearly see what's going on. And I know for a fact that you certainly won't be the first person that's experienced this and has felt exhausted. Now, that exhaustion, it compounds over time, and it comes from things like knowing that the heavy workload that you're experiencing at the moment shows no signs of slowing down or even stopping. It's working in an emotionally intense environment where things can and do go wrong, and over time these things compound. It might be something like experiencing challenging behaviours from patients, from relatives, and from staff who are themselves experiencing stress. So you feel like it's being projected onto you, and that of course makes you feel exhausted too. There's things like conflict of, trying to keep birth low risk and normal when doctors might want to intervene, as an example. It's things like dealing with the range of complexities and difficulties that can arrive during birth and not really knowing what's coming. Okay, that not really knowing that's coming is also something that can be quite exhausting. And just really having that frustration when you want to give more care or a deeper level of care and have more time to spend with the families that you're looking after, knowing that you want to do more and you could do more, but because of time, you're not able to. So all of these things are things that you can't really control, that are outside of you, that are happening whilst you're on shift, that are quite exhausting. Now, when you're working in a high pressured environment like this, it can leave you feeling quite broken. It can leave you feeling like you're struggling to cope. And that's because of the accumulation of exhaustion and distress that builds up and creates this anxiety. Okay, now what I'm going to do today is share with you one of my favorite techniques for instantly energizing my clients, so that you can learn the benefits of it and you can start to feel the benefits for yourself. And when you do this, when you get into the pattern of doing this, when you get onto a bit of a roll where you're doing this, you are going to start to create unshakable belief in yourself and your abilities as a midwife. And that is what I want for you. I want you to be able to reconnect with your passion and your purpose. Now, when you've done this, you're going to feel well, you're going to feel prepared, and you're going to be looking forward to your shift and quite excited for your shift, regardless of what it is to come. Okay, and that's kind of where we want to get back to, isn't it? When we want to go from that exhaustion to that energized, for that excitement. So when you have this kind of emotional resilience, you'll see that it starts to rub off on those people around you. And when you have this kind of information, you cannot help but be able to want to use it to help other people. When you have this this knowledge, this insight, and you've been practicing it, then you just want to be able to help the families in your care and your colleagues around you. So let's get stuck in then to the 3 keys to recharging your energy levels. Now, what I want you to do is just imagine for me a target. Okay, so a target is 3 circles inside each other. Okay, now if you've got pen and paper handy, you could just draw that out. 3 circles inside each other. And what I want you to do is think about the outside circle contains all of the things that you have no control and no influence over. So there's some of the things there that we just mentioned. In that inner circle, you've got all of the things you have no control over, but you can still strongly influence. And then in the very center circle, all of the things that you can control and influence. Now, what I'm going to do, well, you've got that in your mind, if you've got that drawn out, if you've jotted that down, I'm going to walk you through a bit of a scenario. And it might be something that sounds familiar to you. And then I'm going to tell you how you can get your hands on this quick and easy exercise, this quick and easy technique, so that you can use it to reflect on your day after your shift, when you've had a busy shift at work. You're feeling a little bit exhausted, you can use this to reflect on what's been going on and instantly recharge yourself. Okay, so let's imagine then we've gone on to do a busy shift. It's always a busy shift, and you're I don't know, maybe on your way there it was difficult to park, maybe you're feeling the pinch of the cost of petrol and the price of the parking when you get to the hospital. Maybe you're feeling a little bit frustrated because you've been asked to come in and do a shift for somebody else, and you really wanted to say no, but you've got that conflict because you know that if you say no, you're going to feel guilty because you feel like you're letting your colleagues down. So you say yes, and then here you are on this shift, and I don't know, maybe there's a difficult birth. Maybe there's a difficult situation. Maybe the family in your care, or perhaps the colleagues that you're working alongside of, are experiencing some kind of high level anxiety at the moment. Okay, so there you are, you're doing your best. Now, as a midwife, I know you are empathetic. I also know that you are highly intuitive, and I know that you are the sort of person who will leave no stone unturned when it comes to looking after the people in your care. So I know that you are 100% giving your all to the job. Okay, I'm 100% sure of that. This is what happens. You find yourself in this situation, and because you're trying to control or help or make easier for your family that you're looking after, for your colleagues, all of these things that are outside of your control, you can start to feel like you're not doing a good enough job. Okay, your empathy, you start to over-identify with the emotional state of those people that you're working with. And so you start to feel a little bit vulnerable. And of course, then you don't want to show your vulnerability to the people that you're looking after, because that's not what we do, is it? And then you don't want to do that with your colleagues either, because maybe you feel like that vulnerability is something that you need to hide from them. You know, struggling to cope with the accumulation of stress and anxiety that comes with some of those births is quite normal for somebody in your profession. But here's what we tend to do. We tend to then go home afterwards and we replay what's happened in our minds. It might be in the car on the way back. It might be when you get a quiet moment indoors. It might be when your head hits the pillow, that everything comes alive again, and you go through, you replay everything in your mind from that shift, worrying whether or not you've done enough. Did I do this right? Did I do that right? What did they mean when they looked like that? What did that comment? Was there anything underneath that comment that maybe I need to be aware of? Or what was that look? Or could I have changed this? 101 questions. Okay, and this is something that we all do. It's not just specific to midwives. Everybody does this. They replay conversations in their head, and we get to a point where we can't get to sleep because we're tossing and we're turning, and maybe I don't know, maybe we are grinding our jaw, maybe we've got lots of tension in our shoulders, we're creating lots of stress in our bodies, so there's lots of adrenaline pumping round, so we've not got the relaxing, we've not got the melatonin, we've not got the serotonin that's going to help us feel safe, secure and relaxed and go off to sleep, because we're creating this anxiety in our mind that's playing out in our body. Okay, and so we get into this cycle of waking up in the next morning because the last thing you thought about at night, quite often the first thing you think about in the morning, and that's the way that we set ourselves up for the day, thinking about all of the external things and trying our best to make it right for everybody else, and sometimes you just can't. So what I want you to do now is think about that scenario and give yourself a moment or two to jot down all of those things that are outside of your control. Okay, so you can't control the staff levels, you can't control the type of birth that person has, you can't control how your colleagues are feeling, you can't control how that family are feeling. So let's have a look at the inner circle, okay, that middle circle now. Now, whilst you can't control these things, you can positively influence them. And I know that if you are compassionate, which you are, if you're empathetic and you're intuitive, you will have done your absolute best with the information you had to hand and the circumstances and the situation you was in to have positively influenced that experience for that family and for your colleagues. Okay, 100% sure of that. If you actually managed to do that, that's great. But if you didn't, I know that you would have done your best, which takes us into that very center circle. It's no good me telling you this. When you tell yourself, I did the best that I could with the information I had to hand, with the situation that was there at the time, then you will feel more in control. When you feel more in control, you won't go home and you won't replay that scenario in your head, and you won't create all that tension in your body that's causing you not to sleep. Now, it might be that sleep's not an issue for you. So it might be that it causes you to eat junk food. Maybe it causes you to, I don't know, indulge in wine o'clock. Maybe it causes you to feel short-fused with your family. Whatever it is, it's the focusing on the outside circles that is creating that response in your mind and in your body. Okay, so what I want you to do now is have a little think. Think about a situation that has come up for you, and I would like you to use those circles and jot down a few ideas of the things that you can control and influence. Quick hint, they're your thoughts, your responses and your emotions, although it might not always feel like you can control them, and you actually can. And then all of those things that you have no influence over and no control over, which are in the outside circle, and of course those things that you have no control over but you can strongly influence. Okay, and what I want you to do is jot down those things and then give yourself a little takeaway at the bottom. And what I would love to do is I would love to hear from you and hear how you've got on. So let's have a little recap then. We have talked about some of the challenging situations that are coming up in midwifery and maternity services at the moment, and how sometimes we can't always do things about them like we would like to. We've talked about how to reconnect with your passion and purpose, and how to take yourself from feeling emotionally drained and exhausted after a shift to actually taking back that emotional control and feeling emotionally re-energized using this quick, simple, easy technique. And what I want you to do is download it, okay? And you can go through that exercise many times, as often as you like. And feel free to get back in touch with me and let me know how you've got on. If you need any more support with it, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you and guide you through those circles. Okay, that's it from me. My name's Sarah. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this mini training. We've got lots more to come over the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited to share this information with you. I know how much it's needed. I know how much it's wanted. I know that you deserve to have this information. You deserve to feel energized after the work that you do, and I know that this is proven to work in maternity and midwifery services, and I just cannot wait to share more with you. Okay, thanks for listening. You take care now. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.